Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm breaking down everything you need to know about buying a house subject to the existing mortgage, even if you have never done it before. So I will walk you through step by step how I personally bought my most recent investment property using this strategy. So I will cover it all, from setting up your LLC to finding the deal to negotiating with the agent and the seller, handling the paperwork, the entry fee, my exit strategy, and even gonna show you my actual HUD statement so you can see that this was a real deal. So this video is for anyone who's been hearing the term subject to but doesn't quite understand how it works or what it takes to actually close one. So let's jump right into it. So first off, I wanted to talk about the setup, okay? Before I could even look at deals, I needed to make sure that I was actually ready to buy. So since I'm a foreign investor, I had to set up the right legal structure. So that meant create an LLC. So I personally use PCS, Prime Corporate Services, okay? They help me with the EIN, the Employer Identification Number, and then they help me with the operating agreement, and then I open a bank account with Bank of America, okay? Now, something that I wanted to mention, I already had my social security number, okay? This is something that I got because I went to college here in the US. So I got my social security number and it was easier for me to open a bank account here. Now, if you are a foreign investor and you don't have a social security number or you don't have a physical address here in the US, I was renting at the time I opened my first LLC and I used, pay stubs showing that I live there, and that's how I was able to open a bank account. But if you don't have a physical address, you can ask a family member or a friend. And if you don't have a physical address or you don't know anyone, you can partner up with me. Just let me know and we will figure it out. That is as far as creating the LLC. That is as far as the setup. So PCS is the company that I use. You can use another attorney, another company, but Prime Corporate Services is the one who helped me create an LLC. Now, another thing that I want to mention is that if you want to invest and make money in the real estate industry, I will always suggest to not have anything under your name. So that is either if you want to create an LLC or a trust or something else, but don't do business. And most importantly, if you are a foreign investor, don't do business under your personal name, okay? I would say, if you're starting out, you can do it, but that's how I learned from my mentors, is to have everything under an LLC, okay? So you can, if you need help with creating an LLC, you can go down below in the description and I will put a link in there. You can have a conversation with PCS. I think it's an hour, and they can help you with LLC creation, business credit, taxes. So yeah, just jump on a call with them and they will help you with everything. So now that I had the legal stuff in place, I needed to get really clear on what I wanted to buy and where, okay? So for me, it was important to pick the right location. It wasn't just looking to buy anywhere. So I wanted a solid long-term market. So I narrowed it down to Texas, Central Florida, or Arizona. And in the end, I decided to focus on Houston or San Antonio because I love the rental demand there, strong job markets, landlord-friendly laws. And I also knew I wanted to buy a single family home, nothing too crazy, just something that I could manage and potentially rent by the room. So if you are just getting started, get clear on where do you want to buy, what kind of house, what's your ideal tenant or buyer. That clarity will save you a lot of time later, okay? So once I had my LLC and my criteria down, it was time to find a deal. Now here's the thing, with subject to, you want to target houses with low equity. That's the key. So what I did was I started looking for newer homes, mostly homes purchased between 2020 and 2023. I used PropStream and Zillow. Why? Because those owners probably didn't have much time to build equity. That also meant they couldn't afford to drop the price because the cost to sell a home today is around 10%, and many sellers just don't have the money to sell the house. So that's where subject to comes in as a win-win. And I looked at houses listed on market. And yes, this with real estate agents, and I position myself as the solution when sellers couldn't come down on their price, okay? So again, just to recap, I was focusing on low equity, newer homes built in 2023. This meant that they haven't built enough equity if they are looking to sell today, okay? Because of how recent they have bought the house. Again, they haven't built enough equity. These are nice opportunities to offer subject to. The average cost to sell a house, why is 10%? Because listing agent, buyer's agent, closing costs, appraisals, the lender, and miscellaneous, right? Like after all the fees and everything. And then sometimes buyers, if you are dealing with a homestead buyer, they want, hey, fix this, fix that on the house. So it comes to around 9 to 10% to sell a house. Okay, so if they don't have enough equity, if they can come down on their price anymore, that's why subject to can come in, and it can be a win-win for everybody. Okay, so now let's go over the negotiation. The deal I ended up getting took about 1 to 2 months of follow-up. So I stayed in touch with the agent. I follow up consistently, and every time we talked, I was asked like, "Hey, how are your offers going? Is it still low? All right, just keep me in your back pocket." Eventually, the agent told me that the seller was behind on the mortgage payments. So that was my green light. Okay, so I made an offer that worked for everyone. I catch up on the missed payments. I cover the agent's commissions. I pay for the closing costs. And that way, the seller didn't have to bring any money to the table. Okay, so, and here's where I give a huge shout out to my transaction coordinator, Emily. She handled everything, the subject to paperwork, coordination with the title company, the whole thing. If you want her contact information, just like, comment, and subscribe, and I will DM you her information. So she was the MVP of this transaction. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been able to close the deal. And yeah, I mean, I just ask that in return. I mean, just help me with a subscribe, and I will happily to send you her contact information. Okay, so let's go over number 5, and that is paperwork and post closing. So once I had the deal under contract, Emily handled all the paperwork, but a big tip here, be very careful with insurance and auto pay setup. These deals are very delicate, and making sure everything is structured correctly protects everyone involved. So again, Emily handled this. If you don't have someone like her on your team, you need one. Okay, so this, especially if you are doing this for the first time, I didn't know about again the insurance, what to do after we closed. I mean, she helped me with the title company and communication with the seller and Kevin to make sure everyone is on the same page, set up the expectations. So I 100% suggest that you bring someone on the team at TC, okay, that is certified to do this type of transactions. So yeah, also want to mention that I use the title company that I use. Again, this one is in Texas, Houston, Texas. I use a patent title. Everything went really smooth with them, and I love their service and the communication. So I'm really happy with them. I'm gonna also add their link in the description down below, so you can go to their website, go with them. They are really good. Okay, so number 6, and that is the entry fee. It just means what it cost me to get the deal done and have it like rent ready. So let's break it down. For me to close on this deal, including everything, closing costs, catch up on the mortgage payments. Again, the seller was behind on payments, 2 months of payments, so I had to bring that to the table so the mortgage can be in good standing. So I had to bring $18,000 to the closing table to close on the deal, to pay Kevin, the agent, pay Emily, of course, for handling the transaction. And then for the renovation, I had to spend $10,000. This was originally a 4.5, and I turned it into a 5-bedroom and 3 full bathrooms. So the total renovation was $10K, and then I had to fix something outside. Minimal renovations. I mean, the house is pretty new. This house was built in 2023. Light renovation. And then to have it rent ready, I furnished this property. So for the type of rental that I'm doing in this house, it's gonna be renting by the room. Normally for this type of business model, it's better if you furnish the bedrooms. I spent about $5,000 in furniture, so that brings a total of $35,000 to buy this deal and have it rent ready. This is my own money. That is the entry fee. This property is I'm gonna be renting it by the room. With the layout of the house and the location, it made perfect sense. So it's a great way to increase monthly cash flow. So I'm expecting on bringing $36,000 to $4,000 a month on the projected rent. And then my expenses are $3,000. That includes already the payment on the mortgage, taxes, insurance, HOA, monthly maintenance, $3,000 a month. So I'm gonna expect a cash flow of about $600 a month. This is if fully occupied. If my cash flow is around $600 a month times 12, that is the yearly cash flow, that is $7,200 a month divided by how much money I put into the deal. Remember the entry fee? My entry fee was $35,000. You divide that times 100, and I get 20% cash on cash return of investment, which is pretty good. Not a home run, but it's a solid deal. As promised, here is the settlement statement, also known as the hottest statement. This cannot be more legit. This is the best way to prove to you that I have closed on this transaction. As you can see on this side, it says the SMJ Innovations LLC, that is my LLC. And then, I had to cross on some things. I didn't know what to cross out, but this is pretty personal. So a lot of times YouTube doesn't like to see addresses or mention addresses, okay? This settlement agent, it just means where the transaction was closed. I use, again, patent title company here in Texas, here in Houston. You can see the address here. And then, this is the property location. I don't want to say the address because YouTube doesn't like it. But hey, just reach out to me via Instagram, send me a DM. Hey, if you want to know the property address, happy to do that. And yeah, so let's go over it together. Let's go over each line. This was the sales price. This is the buyer side of the transaction, and this is the seller side of the transaction. What this means is that just the hottest statement and the settlement statement, it just means line by line how the money is gonna be dispersed at closing. Now this is just gonna show me the buyer side. I don't want to show the seller side, but at the end there was not much to show on this side. But yeah, let's break it down. So one of the two lines that I want you to pay attention, and this is really important when you talk to sellers and agents that are skeptical or they think this is not legit or this is illegal or all of that. This is a transaction that is done nationwide. So if you go to lines 203 and 503 of the settlement statement, look at what it says. Existing loans taken subject to. Existing loans taken subject to. So this is a transaction that is done nationwide, and title companies do it, closing attorneys do it, okay? Now, something that I didn't mention, this house actually has a silent second because of a down payment assistance. We didn't have to pay it off at closing. It remained there attached to the house, and I'm gonna pay it off once I refinance or sell the house, okay? This is gonna be paid off. So now let's go over the entry fee. I mentioned $18,000. This is really important. I had to bring to the closing table $14,000, and I don't know if I had to bring the full $18,000. As you can see, it says in here on line 209, it says mortgage arrears, because as I said, the seller was behind on payments 2 months. So I had to come in with that money to the closing table, so the mortgage is in good standing. But I had to pay this. I followed the instructions of Emily, my transaction coordinator. She told me to wait a couple of months to pay this, okay? So that's why it's really important to have a transaction coordinator, to follow their steps, handle insurance, the post-closing, all of that with this type of transactions. Again, they are very delicate. So I just follow the steps, but I remember that I had to transfer this money to the closing table at closing, and then I had to wait a couple of days. But yeah, guys, this is pretty much it as far as the settlement statement. There are more lines in here. But yeah, now, something I want to mention, really important. If you are working on getting subject to deals, seller finance or whatever, or you are planning on doing transactions like this, something I wish someone told me when I got started is, I'm happy to send you this settlement statement. Just subscribe, comment, and like the video, and reach out to me on my Instagram. Happy to do that. And also, I am willing to do a video or a loan video like this, mentioning your name and saying that we are partners. And I can even say, hey, I'm partners with X. We did this transaction recently, just to show you that this is legit. He's my partner and all of that. Just for credibility, if you are like, hey, I need some credibility, I haven't done a deal before, happy to do this video for you so you can get the deal done. So that is pretty much as far as the settlement statement and hottest statement. Okay, so before I wrap this up, I just got to say thank you to everyone who helped me make this deal happen. Big thanks to Emily, my transaction coordinator, the Sub2 community who helped me along the way, Tracy, the seller, she was helpful throughout the way, Kevin, the listing agent, he was really nice all the way to closing, and Patent Title for a smooth transaction. You were all incredible. And listen, if you got any value from this video, I would really appreciate if you hit the subscribe. I committed to myself to drop a YouTube video every single week and post real estate nuggets and a funny video every single day. So I appreciate you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.